started today. I'm laughing already. Okay, I'm gonna open it up with a question for y'all. So what does Black Boy Joy look like to y'all? What does that mean? How do you live it in your lives? That's what it looks like.
This not what it look like? It don't look like a smile?
I don't know. It can. It really depends. I think like earlier in the year or late last year, it would be like, yeah, it's Black Boy Joy is a lot of smiles. Right now, it might be, Lord, you took me through this week and I'm in my right mind, I'm healthy, my family is still here, I'm good. But it fluctuates. What do y'all think?
I would say peace, like just being at peace and like just no matter what things are going on, just having that peace inside of you and being able to be, sure of yourself and sure of God and sure that he's going to bring you out of the storm. So for me, like that's really been helping me get through the weeks. Mm-hmm. It's just like, nah, like God got me. I ain't gonna trip on it.
Yeah, man. I think I would say like Black Boy Joy may be for me a decision. You know what I'm saying? Like everything may not be full of joy or a joyous situation, but I'm gonna choose to have joy despite of, you know what I'm saying, whatever may be going on. Or it's like something, I think for me to have joy, I have to know that it's an option for me. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of like what I'm really in this space in my life. No matter what it is, I'm gonna have joy.
Mm.
But that's just joy. Where does Black Boy Joy like come from? Because I don't personally think like it too much exists. I think it's a social construct, right? It's something that we say, just a buzzword or phrase. Black Boy Joy, like many of the buzzwords or phrases that we use. That's just what y'all explained was just joy, which comes from the Lord.
I'm
saying you're wrong. Where's the specificity to Black Boy Joy?
I don't think you're wrong. I think it was this hyper focus on it because joy for a Black man is something that hasn't always been personified or put in our faces. And so there was something that you got to carve this out because as a Black man, I wasn't really taught that I could choose joy or that it was an option for me. But I think it's one of those things that it had to be hyper focused on because it became this influx of imaging. It became this influx of like this focus on it because now we're making it this choice. We're making it, we're having agency in our joy. So I think that's where the term comes from. If you're asking why was it made such a focus?
That's fair.
Yeah, I'll also say, I don't know if joy would even be a word that a lot of Black men historically would even use. I think we've oftentimes associated joy with some kind of like feminine connotation. I think you ask a lot of, a lot of Black men of earlier generations, they'll say joy for me is just peace. It's when a problem is not existing, as opposed to I'm actually happy or I'm actually joyful of a specific situation. So I think unfortunately, when you're talking about Black Boy Joy, I think it's the reclaiming of the definition and allowing it to be what it really is within this society that we may or may not have historically been able to express that aside from like a sporting event.
Niggas have joy for football, basically.
Yeah, for sure. I personally wouldn't ask like men of the previous generation nothing because they be talking that hot nonsense, but
No,
maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
with you on that one.
No, I'm not saying it's. I made a sweeping generalization of a age period of men, but like older men be hating. So there's that. That's why I don't like that.
Okay,
they be hating.
Why? How? Explain.
Explain how older men be hating?
Yeah, no, we potted.
Have you ever been hated on by older men?
Me personally, I can't say that I have.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay.
You're lucky.
Maybe because I don't view it that way though.
That's fair. Okay. I'm not saying that it's crazy that you haven't like go experience it. I don't.
No, for sure. But I'm saying I don't.
But I like, okay, so case in point, right? At my church, people know me because they know maybe who my father is or who my sister is or who my wife is, whatever, around the church, but they didn't necessarily know me. Mm-hmm. So oftentimes I'll be around the church and I'll speak to older men like, hey, what's up? Or how you doing? Or nod head, whatever. And it takes them a second, like it don't register. And I'm like, okay. So then we cross paths again. And now that they find out what I do or who I am or who I'm attached to, now opens up something or whatever the case may be, or oh, now I see value in you or whatever the case may be, and now you speak. Or like me and my wife were at a marriage event, and we were the youngest couple in there because everybody was significantly older than us. We sat down at the table, we were talking, whatever, and I said something. And the old man that was next to me, he hadn't talked to me the whole time. He was just kind of looking at me out the corner of his eye, like, look at this young buck. What does he know? And whatever I said, he said, oh, that's good that you said that. I ain't never thought about it like that. I want to be like, yeah, yo, goofy old self, though. Like, you didn't expect nothing of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just hating.
But that sounds like it comes from the same exact place you just said. You generalize their generation just like they're generalizing us. They think we're the fact that, they put us all in that same bucket to say, like, we don't know nothing. All we want to do is, be outside party. Like, they don't realize that there's a, another bucket of us that actually have common sense, that was raised. And, we aren't in that. We just aren't always into that mess. So saying it kind of flipped the same way you just did it. Yeah. And I think that also goes into the question that you initially asked about what is joy. I think there's a component of it that consists of us allowing to be whoever we want to be. I'm really big right now on really showing younger guys that it's okay to be a Christian and young. Like, you don't have to start your Christian journey once you're already married and once all the proverbial fun time has passed, that you can have just as much fun under the guidance of God, and you're not missing out on anything. You're not losing anything by being a disciple and following those practices. The ability to do that, I think, is an aspect of joy, at least for me.
And I think I will follow it up with a question, KB. You're saying the older men may be hating, or they might not have the expectation, or could it be that there's a perpetuation of like a lack of communication with our community and the hyper focus on the Black church community? There wasn't any, like, I guess I would say, partnership and communication from older generations to younger. So I don't think it's a lack of expectation. I also would suggest that maybe they don't know what to expect. So that way, it's not that they don't expect anything. They don't know what to expect. So in those conversations, you could surprise them because they maybe didn't know what to expect to begin with.
More so, as a general, they don't know what to expect, or like specific to
General
young person.
General.
Okay.
I think it's more of a disconnect because I feel like the older generation have a concept of what it means to be a male Christian, a Black male Christian. So I think now we're in a different time where we can do the things that we like to do. We can wear jeans at church. We can, help out our community, and it looks different to them. And sometimes strange can come off as, an area in their mind where they're like, no, that's kind of confusion, or that looks like something else that we're not familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys feel like you had to have that struggle of choosing fun versus choosing Christ? Like, what did that look like for you in really coming into your own?
like what was life like pre-salvation specifically?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like most of you guys grew up saved, right? Or had a semblance of knowing God, who God was.
I think there's always a level of knowing God. I think, especially as an individual who identifies as a man, there's a even heightened level of intention that I feel as though we have to have, because there's a point in time when, if you choose to be in a relationship with someone else, there's an expectation that you lead. And there's an expectation that you are providing some form of guidance while also still receiving it. So to answer your question, for me, I think I, to a fault, did it a lot earlier than maybe I needed to. It has benefited me in the long run, and I'm thankful for it, but it definitely has caused relationships with former friends that maybe would have existed a little bit longer, but they went left, or they've ended because of the fact of they know Grice is not going to go to insert party, or he's not going to assist me in a certain situation because I've already shown that that's just not a standard that I'm going to put myself at. So it definitely has come with sacrifices at times, especially when you make the decision as opposed to your parents waking you up and you going to church or whatever the case may be. What y'all think?
No, I think I had to redefine what fun looks like.
Oh, brother.
Yeah, so like me now seriously taking my walk with God, taking my walk with God serious, and there are things that I thought was fun that was damaging who God was calling me to be. There were things that I thought was things that I thought that I enjoyed, or things that I thought were fruitful for my life. Then when I came into like more of the realization of who God was calling me to be, I saw I was conforming. And he, you know what I'm saying, I had to work through that and allow God to, you know what I'm saying, transform my mind. So yeah, I still have fun, but it's a healthy fun now.
Can you walk through that process of realizing that? You know I was going to do it, but like I think it's needed. Like, can you walk through that process of realizing, like, oh, this thing that I really thought was fun is not fun anymore?
Or an example too. I would love to like.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Tell
example.
your life
Yeah.
story. Tell your testimony, man.
Yeah, like an example. Not just an example.
Yeah,
I don't know
no.
what's down. It's a couple
Let
of
me-
them on the
let me-
couch right now. Not just an example.
Y'all see he ran. Y'all see?
Feel free to name drop too.
That's crazy work.
Great.
Nah,
Just kidding.
um,
Just kidding.
I'm trying to think which route do I want to go. I'll go backwards. I think one of the things that helped me finally get to this point was accountability. But not just having access to accountability, the embracing of it. When I decided that I really wanted to be in a serious relationship and I wanted to become a husband, I had to hang around husbands, or I had to hang around men who had certain standards of their life. And with that came the realization that maybe, you know, seeing a different woman every day of the week ain't one, is I'm wasting money. Two, I'm wasting time. A lot of the time that I say I can't, I'm too busy to accomplish the things I want to accomplish. If I place my time on what is going to really be beneficial for my soul and my mind and my spirit, like I can get these things accomplished. So I think I had to have a hard realization that who I say I want to be, my actions don't line up, and who I say I really want to be. And if I continue to perpetuate this, I'll look up in 10 years and not have near-death experiences, but my pastor calls them near-life experiences. That I could have lived a certain quality of life, but I didn't. I could have lived a certain quality of dream or all the type of those things, but I didn't. So I ain't gonna go too deep in my testimony. Y'all help me. Get me out the fire, somebody.
Oh, so I definitely agree. I think for me, Christ kind of put things in a perspective for me that made it not fun anymore. So like going out and doing the same things that I used to do, it stopped being fun. And I'm like, nah, like that's what we like to do. And he's like, no, not anymore. So for me, he kind of took the fun out of it for me. And then I found value in other things, you know, being part of, you know, ministries and, you know, being around like-minded individuals and being in a safe space where I felt like, you know, I didn't need to be a certain way. I could enjoy myself and I could, you know, just be Jarek and have a good time. And I think that's what kind of changed my heart, you know what I'm saying? And kind of just made me be like, you know, going out every night is not fun. You know, drinking a lot it's not gonna do me any good and stuff like that. So he kind of just made me like, nah, we're not doing that anymore.
I would say for me, conversely, I always knew it wasn't fun. Like I look back on the things that I've done in my life and like I'll never categorize those things as a fun time. Even while I was doing it, it wasn't like fun. Like I had a solid time. It was cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Being around the homies in that way was cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Certain people that I've gotten to meet, certain young ladies that I've gotten to meet.
Crazy.
It was cool, right? But like even then, like two of my closest homies, like we used to go to like the club sometimes and we knew the promoters or the DJs wherever we was going. So that was the only way I would go out, right? Because I like to have as much of a familiar environment as possible, especially when I'm going out, just because there's so many things going on. So I kind of trying to like cut down on the redundancies, right? So I go out with the homies, and I'm not saying like I can look back on like 2 times where I was like, I had fun. Like one night I had the time of my life for no reason in this random hookah bar, whatever. And I don't even smoke hookah. Like I wasn't even in there doing nothing. We just had a good time. But for the most part, I would not categorize them things as fun or anything that I was doing before was fun. I think that it just felt good. So I did it. And I think like because like I got saved when I was young. I was probably like 10 years old, right? My father's a pastor, has been my whole life. So I grew up in the church. So I knew who I belonged to in Jesus, right? But just growing and going, we begin to get exposed to certain things. And if we're not like vigilant about what we expose ourselves to or what we get exposed to, then we can fall in the cycle and become like, a part of certain crowds, certain things. But like whole time I'm knowing like, yeah, I probably shouldn't. Like if I'm gonna put myself on the spot, because I asked Zay to put him on the spot. Like I was at a young lady's house one time and I went downstairs to go get my charger out of my car. And like I could hear the Holy Spirit being like, just leave. Like just get in the car and leave. Like don't come back, just leave. I didn't leave. But like I vividly I didn't leave. Like I know. Unfortunately, like
I'm about to say, man, you good.
I did not leave. Nah, it was a couple flights of stairs too. Like, nah, I did not leave. I went back upstairs, and that's the end of that story. But I knew whole time, like full well, throughout all of the things, like it wasn't right, it wasn't good, it wasn't fun, it wasn't joyful. But I did it anyway. And so like coming back around and rededicating myself or just really submitting to the Lord's will, like then fully like just made that U-turn for me, that 180 or the whole 360, as my friends like to put it so funnily, because it's not a 360, right?
It's not 360 as you get in the same spot. It's all right.
But we like to say a full 360.
Yeah.
He brought me a full no, it's fun. He brought me a full 180 and yeah, that is that for me. I knew it wasn't fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, that grass is gonna go. I felt the mic was rising.
No,
Talk about your fun times.
For real. No cap. No, I mean a little bit to what you said, KB. The times were cool, like they were fun, but I always felt out of place. I always knew I was never in the right atmosphere. I always felt it.
That's a fact.
Even when it came down, even specifically like my fraternity, my chapter. I knew I was an oddball. I was the one that on a Saturday night we in the club doing our thing. I'm like, all right, y'all, I gotta shut it down. I gotta get ready to go to church, like, and they looking at me like,
it's up.
like, nah, come on. I'm like, nah, I gotta get there. And so it always,
Go to church from here. Leave here and go. Leave here and go. What you mean, bro?
Nah, for real. But it was always, I connected again, I never had any problems, connecting with the people. I just felt like I was the one that was supposed to be there for them to see that this is cool, but there's another, there's more to this, and there's more to life than this. And so, you granted, again, like I said, I was supposed to be in this, those spaces, but it wasn't until I met those, as Zay said, like I connected, I met with brothers that was in it, trying to make changes and really, living that change, that I really felt like I was, in the perfect place. And so I can definitely appreciate that. God, he allowed me to see. And again, it wasn't that I wouldn't say that, I would ask him to change anything, because I think I had to see that stuff. I had to go through that. But I definitely, can say I definitely appreciate, where I am now, who I'm, connected with now. Again, it just tells a perfect story for me, I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to go back because you said something so powerful about submitting to God. And like for me, that was so hard to do because everybody that I'm around is doing these particular things. And it's hard to be the oddball out. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to be the one who's like, nah, I'm not going out, or no, I'm not going to do that, or, hey, I'm going to go to church. Anybody want to go? And everybody like, nah, we kind of tired from last night and everything like that. So for me, it was so hard submitting to like his will and being a changed man in that aspect.
And to act like it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. To act like it. Yeah.
I knew it, but I had to act like it.
Yeah.
Which was then the work that I had to do.
But that was gonna be my question, right? So we're talking about submitting to the will of God and acting like it. At what point did y'all know, or talk about like your submission process, right? Like it's like, at what point did you fully submit to God? What had to happen to bring yourself to full submission?
I mean, I'll go. I think some of us are lucky enough, male or female, are lucky enough to be able to say that there are times where maybe God speaks directly to you in a very clear way, to where you don't have to rely on other people or even those that you care about. And I think for me specifically, I was about to make a decision And God said to me, frankly, I'm going to let you do this. But if you do this, the end result is not going to be what you expect it to be. And you're going to miss out on far more than you think you're going to get. So the choice is yours. And at that moment, it's like, first of all, ain't no way I just got all that. But then once you come to that realization, I know I did receive that. I think that's when he understands and he knows that that's the decision that you're about to make. And at least, again, for me, I'm thankful enough to have, again, been around other God-fearing men who felt it the same way. I had one of my best friends. I didn't have to tell him. He automatically knew, like, man, I'm gonna really be checking on you because, like, I feel a shift coming. And I even had to tell him. And now it has made that process or that transition from moving amongst myself to really moving for God a lot easier than if it was just for me by myself.
For me, my submission process, I categorize it like if we stick with the word submission, like an MMA fight. Like me and God were like, not me and God. I was tussling on the ground. I was moving, I was squirming, I was trying to fight what I knew was the inevitable, what I knew was coming, right? I have historically always fought a call to ministry. One, because I always thought that being in ministry meant I was going to be a pastor. Like I was going to have to lead a congregation and be my father. Nothing wrong with being who my father is, a great man and a great pastor and a great leader. But all my life, people told me like, oh, you're going to do this like your dad. You're going to do that like your dad. You're going to do this like your dad. It's like four steps, right? You're going to go to Morehouse. You're going to pledge. You're going to come back home and preach. And like, there's some similarities there because I for sure went to Morehouse and now I'm a youth minister, right? But to get to that point,
TBD
right?
on the pledging.
What?
I was just saying TBD on the pledging.
Oh no, I didn't get it up.
Yeah, put y'all TBD. That's what they all say.
Bro, at this point in my life, I'm too old to be, reading and reciting.
That's what they all say.
That's good. I'm just, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's me.
So fine.
But maybe a part of like, the submission process. Like maybe I just got a problem, like, you know what I'm saying? Like allowing that. I
He
don't
was
know.
a bad
But
kid, huh?
no, I was not a bad kid. But to go back to Jesus, right? One, I was fighting my call to ministry, right? And I just basically had to be broken all the way down. Like the Lord broke me all the way down, right? Through life circumstances and through some of my own choices. I just got to a point where like I got tired of being tired. And at that point I said, all right, Lord, because I feel like I don't know where to go, right? I was in and out of school, in and out of college, because I don't know where I want to go or where I feel like I belong or what, like, just tell me. You tell me what it is and I'm going to do it. And the whole time I'm just like, all right, here, come on. Like I was like reluctant, but I was still like, all right, God, come on. And it wasn't until I got to a point where I verbally, audibly said like, all right, Lord, like I submit to your will, like whatever it is, whatever ministry calling it is, wherever I need to go, I'll go and I'll do. And so, that led me here now, but it freed me in that submission innately, even though the path still took longer to get to where he needed me to go. Like,
Yeah.
I felt it instantly.
I feel like it's an ongoing fight for me. I feel like I don't think I fully submitted as I think I would have liked to by now. And it's challenges. I do think I'm further than I give myself grace for. Because I got tired of being in endless cycles. So when I started to realize I was in the cycles and I'm talking to God like, hey, like what's going on? Is this and is that? And then I woke up one day and I was like, it's me. I'm the problem. like the common denominator is me. It's the boy. As bad as I don't want to say it, it's me and God like, hey, I've been trying to say yeah, you feel me? So I kind of got to the point where I am making that process and I am coming at terms with it, and I'm letting go of control and allowing him to kind of dictate on what I'm going to do and where I'm going to be and what things are going to look like for me, because I'm a person who likes to plan ahead and see all these things and like, hey God, like, we You know what I'm saying?
Talk about it.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, I got you. Like, I can see things that you can't see. So I think I'm getting to that point of fully submitting.
So the struggle in submission is letting go of the controls.
Yeah. Oh, for
I
sure.
think that's for almost every man, though. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
All of y'all like,
Tried to find a yeah.
100%. I think that's for every man. It's like we're taught or it's ingrained in us to lead, to have the plan, to do all these things. But I was gonna say, like, bro, the most amount of joy I've ever experienced in my life was letting go and like, for sure, God, you got it. I am the most happiest, joyous I've ever been in my life right now. But that's because, to be transparent, I don't know what the heck is happening. I don't know what's going on. I can't tell you what the next. I have a plan, but he for sure got his. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yep.
I got one kind of final question for y'all. It's like, what do you think is the most like fun part about being a Christian? I know we talked a lot about like almost like the sacrifice and the submission and the like kind of giving up maybe things that you weren't fun or they were fun and like you had to get rid of. But like, what is the most fun about like where you are right now? Like, what makes being a Christian Black man so lit and fun today?
I would say doing this, like
Yeah.
being around like-minded individuals, you know, even though some of them made different choices, you know, I'm not going to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? You know, even though they, you know, but it's all right. God, you know, he's graced them. But just
Crazy, y'all.
No, hold on. For context, they having a Greek argument, and this is not. I'm not reading. They're having a Greek argument. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but just being able to be a part of this and like come from different paths and just being able to talk and like feel safe and feel like, you know, you have something in common with other people who look just like you. You know what I'm saying? And who have maybe dealt with the same things and like you can communicate those things with them. So, I mean, this is the fun part right here.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go last.
You want to jump in?
Y'all got it for a second.
Okay. Well, I I think to carry on to your point, to even kind of allude to mine, I think because although there's certainly millions of Christians and certainly a lot of Black men Christians of all different, you know, backgrounds and perspectives, I think to your point, being still sometimes feeling like there's not many and having that responsibility of being in many cases people's first and primary representation of what that is, to me, I have found joy in. I naturally enjoy doing things and getting things done. Like I fuel off of accomplishment. And having that burden, quote unquote, or expectation of like, hey, when people see you, you are one of the few examples of a Black male Christian they're gonna see. So what are you gonna do? Oh, bet. Then now in those moments, I find a lot of enjoyment because I know the work that he has and is bringing me through, and to be able to make him proud and my family proud and so on and so forth. In doing that, to me is where a lot of enjoyment comes in.
I would say I found my most like value walking with God. You know what I'm saying? Like you asked me what's the most fun part. Everything I do matters now. Everything I do matters. Like my relationships are better. Like walking with God, I found my wife. Everything is better. Just like, and I've had more fun. That I don't have to worry about. Now that don't mean my life is just peaches and cream,
Yeah.
but like it's not as. I don't have to worry about depression as much. I don't have to worry about all of the irritating things that are and carrying it by myself. I got a team. I got you know what I'm saying? So I think everything's just better.
Yeah, I would just say the joy comes from honestly just knowing I'm taken care of, like I'm covered.
Mhm.
He said like I don't have to be depressed, I don't have to stress. Like I stay up and worry and do it, and then and do all that stress and go through that process. But then I realize when I do the complete opposite, and I'm like you said, I'm just here. I'm hey, like I know it's gonna get taken care of. My dad's on E, but I know tomorrow it's gonna it's something gonna change. I just that feeling of knowing that it ain't trouble not gonna last always. In this and what I'm in. So I think that joy of just like I said, being knowing that, you know, I'm being watched over and I'll never be, you know, ever forgotten about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the the fun part about being a Christian is for me is it's the promises of God.
Mm.
Like, and the fulfillment of those promises, and being able to see that and live that and even be that. That's where like all my joy comes from in the Lord. So yeah.
All right, guys. I think that's a wrap. Great job.